Hello, my wonderful, amazing artists. It's me, Miss Abby, your art teacher, and today we are getting inspired by a wonderful book called The Big Orange Splat. And in this book is the story of Mr. Plumbean and him transforming his house, which was the same as everyone else's, to it's a unique, colorful home that reflects his dream home and where he would like to live. And today we're going to think like Mr. Plumbean and create our dream home, and mine might be different than yours. And that's awesome, because we can all live in the same neighborhood together. Hello, friends. Let's read The Big Orange Splat. Mr. Plumbean lived on a street where all the houses were the same. He liked it that way. So did everyone else on Mr. Plumbean's street. This is a neat street, they would say. Then, one day, a seagull flew over Mr. Plumbean's house. He was carrying a can of bright orange paint. No one knows why. And he dropped the can, no one knows why, right on Mr. Plumbean's house. It made a big orange splat on Mr. Plumbean's house. Oh, too bad, everyone said. Mr. Plumbean will have to paint his house again. I suppose I will, said Mr. Plumbean. But he didn't paint his house right away. He looked at the big orange splat for a long time and then went about his business. The neighbors have got tired of seeing the big orange splat. Someone said, Please, Mr. Plumbean, we wish you get around to painting your house. Okay, said Mr. Plumbean. Got some blue paint and some white paint, and that night he got busy. He painted at night because it was cooler. When the paint was gone, the roof was blue, the walls were white, and the big orange splat was still there. Then he got some more paint. He got red paint, yellow paint, green paint, and purple paint. In the morning, the other people on the street came out of their houses. Their houses were all the same, but Mr. Plumbean's house was like a rainbow. It was a jungle. It was like an explosion. There was a big orange splat. There were little orange spots. There were stripes. There were pictures of elephants and lions and pretty girls and steam shovels. The people said Plumbean had popped his cork, flipped his wig, blown his stack, and dropped his stopper. That night, Mr. Plumbean bought some carpenter's tools and built a tower on top of his roof, and painted a clock on the tower. Next day, the people said Plumbean had gushed his mush, lost his marbles, and slipped his hawser. They decided they would pretend not to notice. That very night, Mr. Plumbean got a truck full of green trees. He planted palm trees, baobabs, thorn bushes, onions, and frangipani. In the morning, he bought a hammock and an alligator. When other people came out of their houses, they saw Mr. Plumbean swinging in a hammock between two palm trees, and they saw an alligator lying in the grass. Plumbean was drinking lemonade. Plumbean has gone too far. This used to be a neat street. Plumbean, what have you done to your house? Many people shouted. My house is me, and I am it. My house is where I'd like to be, and it looks like all my dreams, said Mr. Plumbean. The people went away and asked his neighbor to reason with him and change his house. And went to see Mr. Plumbean that evening. They sat under the palm trees, drinking lemonade and talking all night long. Early the next morning, the man went out to get the lumber and rope and nails and paints. When the people came out of their houses, they saw a red and yellow ship next door to Mr. Plumbean. What have you done to your house? They shouted at the man. My house is me and I am it. My house is where I like to be and looks like all of my dreams, said the man. He'd always loved ships. He's just like Plumbean, the people said. He's got knots in his noodle. Then, one by one, they went to see Mr. Plumbean late at night and drink lemonade and talk about their dreams. And whenever anybody would go to Mr. Plumbean's house, that person would create a home that fits their dreams. Whenever a stranger came to the street of Mr. Plumbean and his neighbors, the stranger would say, This is not a neat street. And all the people would say, Our street is us, and we are it. Our street is where we like to be and looks like all of our dreams. The end. So for this project, you can choose if you want to carefully use some scissors and some paper and some glue and collage and cut out parts of your house, or if you want to use your markers and your pencils and your drawing tools to create your house. Now you can go any crazy way you want. You can make a castle or a pyramid or any crazy thing. But I'm gonna start like Mr. Plumbean did with a simple house, and then I'm gonna decorate it the way I want and add things that I want. And I would love to see what you add to your house to make it your unique house that reflects your dreams. I'm going to start with a marker, but I recommend starting with the pencil so you can erase. To draw a simple basic house, you need to give them a ground first. Then, a lot of houses, like the one in this picture, start with a 1, 2, 3, 4 sided a square or a rectangle to be the base of the house. Then the roof is a triangle. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I've got that. Now we need to add windows and doors. And I want to live in a very bright, beautiful house. So I got a door, and I want to have lots of windows. I actually want to have a cool window in the roof where the art studio is. That's where I'm going to make all my art, is in the window with lots of light. And now I'm going to add window here, window here. Windows, they enable people to look out and to let light in the building and that warmth from the sun. And you can open them to let in a cool breeze. And notice, it is one big rectangle with little rectangles inside of it. Okay, that's my starting point. Now I'm gonna think, I'm gonna think like Mr. Plumbean. Now, if a big orange splat, now if a big orange splat fell on my house, what would I add to it? How would I turn this beautiful oops? How would I think like beautiful oops and transform that splat into an opportunity to transform my house into something unique and beautiful and exactly my dreams house? So, I'm going to think like Mr. Plumbean. I'm going to start with color and add some color. I'm going to add some flowers to the yard, and I think I'm going to add a greenhouse right here for all my plants because I know I love plants. Ta-da, here's my finished dream house inspired by the big orange splat. And what I added was a greenhouse, like a little outdoor tables and chairs, some flowers, a big studio upstairs where there's artwork hanging up. And I added a rainbow flag for decoration because I love seeing the rainbow flag out in my community every June. I think it's my favorite way that city gets decorated. I would love to see what you add to your dream home inspired by the big orange splat. Whether you're using markers and crayons, or you're doing a collage with some scissors and some glue and some paper, or maybe a combination of both those things. I would love to see what you come up with, have an amazing time making art. I would love to see how different and interesting all of our dream homes are. Like mine looks like this, but maybe yours is a big skyscraper, or maybe it's the Batcave from Batman. I don't know. I would love to see everyone's different ideas of what they would include in their dream homes. Bye. Have fun making art.